Hi, I just came home from work. And you know what follows after work? I'm going to play around with the bass. So now I decided to make a string of videos to help my fellow bassists, well, fellow junkies. Okay, because pros don't really need my advice. So now I will be doing a string of videos for my fellow junkies. I think that's the better term. So for today I will be discussing preamps. Okay, so what is a preamp? So a preamp is basically, well, as the word implies, preamp. So it's before the amp. So you can actually modify your signal before it goes to the amplifier. So thus modifying your sound. So when did this onboard preamp thing start? I don't really know, but one of the first famous musicians that I know who used this technology is Marcus Miller. The story goes that Marcus Miller brought his 1970s Fender Jazz Bass to Roger Sadowski. So one of the modifications that Roger Sadowski made in his bass guitar is that he put a preamp. So thus the term bass on steroids. Okay, so maybe that contributed to Marcus Miller's signature sound. But Marcus said in one of his videos that that's the reason why he installed that preamp is that he was going from one session to the other when he was in New York, so he didn't have time to make it sound good. So the preamps were really helpful in that situation. Okay, so my fellow junkies were actually asking, is it really beneficial for me or you to put a preamp on your bass? Well, let's see. Okay, so I actually have 5 bass guitars that have preamps, but I will only show 2 here in this video. So I have here one of them. So this one has an onboard preamp with the following knobs. So this one is a mid boost or a mid knob. This one, the concentric, is a treble bass. This one is the blend control for the bridge and the neck pickup, and this one is the main volume. So right now it's passive, but when I push it down, it turns into active mode. Okay, so the other one, I have here another one. Oh, okay, this one is a 5er. So here I have a 4-band EQ. So this one is a treble, 2 concentric knobs, 1 treble, 1 for the bass, high mid, low mid controls, pickup selector or the blend control for bridge and neck pickups, and here is the main volume control. So this one has a small passive active switch. Okay, so these are the 2 bass guitars that I'm going to demonstrate today. So will it really make a difference if I actually have these onboard preamps installed? Well, let's see. So I will do I think 4 demonstrations, both on and off, slap bass and finger style. So let's see if there's a difference. So after seeing those demonstrations, did you hear a significant difference when the preamp was off and then we turned on the preamp? Well, the most obvious difference for me is that the sound becomes louder when you turn on the preamp. Well, that's a given because these things run on batteries. So they give the pickups extra power. So your sound becomes louder. So because these preamps either run on 9 volt battery or two 9 volt batteries, so 18 volts preamp. So one, it makes your sound louder, and number two, it makes your sound a little bit balanced or even. Or if you want a certain frequency to, you know, go higher or go lower, you can actually do it in the preamp because basically a preamp has at the minimum a bass and treble boost. So the ones that I showed you have a mid-range control. Okay, so well, that's really up to you to actually do your mix. So how can this be helpful in a real-time situation? Okay, so well, for me, when I'm on a gig, I don't really want to mess with the amp very much. So I would like to keep them flat all the time. Okay, so for me to actually do that, I need a preamp. I need a preamp. So this preamp will actually help me adjust my settings. And it's very helpful also in certain venues because certain venues give you a naturally boomy sound. Okay, naturally boomy sound. So this mid-range controls can actually help you a lot because if the sound is very boomy, your sound tends to become muffled in the venue. So now you can adjust in your preamp so that you can cut through the mix properly and you will generally sound better. Okay, so now is it really essential? Not really. Not really. It's actually optional, but it helps. If you have the budget to actually get one installed, why not? Okay, so what preamp should I choose? Well, I'm not here to advertise anything, okay, but there are a lot of good Filipino made preamps that are available in the market and you can have them installed. And you can also have the outboard preamps. Okay, so you have an option. I just want the preamps to be in the base so that I will not be bending over and do knob adjustments. Okay, so again, use to your advantage. Use to your advantage. If you think the preamp can help you, then go. If you think that it is just a burden, then you may opt not to. Because the amplifier itself has a preamp, so you can adjust the mid, the bass, and the treble in these amplifiers. So again, hopefully this video helps. well, at least to my fellow junkies. So hopefully I'll see you again, and ciao.